Lesson 1. In our lives, there are things we control and things we don't. Within our control lie our thoughts, goals, desires, and reactions, essentially, our own affairs. Beyond our control are our physical bodies, material possessions, social standing, professional roles, and anything else not directly within our sphere of influence. What's within our control is inherently liberating, boundless, and unencumbered. Conversely, what's beyond our control tends to be fragile, reliant on external factors, limited, and distant. It's crucial to recognize that if we attribute freedom to things dependent on external circumstances, or if we covet what rightfully belongs to others, we'll inevitably face obstacles, regret, inner turmoil, and blame, directed both at divine forces and fellow humans. However, if we focus solely on managing what truly belongs to us and perceive others' possessions and circumstances with clarity, no external force can coerce us, constrain us, or provoke us. We'll refrain from blaming or accusing others, and will act in alignment with our true desires, immune to harm or enmity. Striving for such profound freedom, we must resist any temptation, no matter how minor, to pursue what lies beyond our control. Some ambitions must be entirely relinquished, while others can be temporarily set aside. Attempting to chase both these inner freedoms and external power and wealth concurrently may result in sacrificing the former for the latter and ultimately failing to achieve genuine happiness and liberty. Therefore, promptly dismiss any unpleasant appearance by recognizing it as merely superficial and inconsequential. Evaluate it using the criteria of whether it pertains to what's within our control or not. If it falls into the latter category, be ready to acknowledge its irrelevance to your well-being. Lesson 2. Always bear in mind that when you desire something, you inherently seek its fulfillment, while aversion prompts you to steer clear of what you dislike. Failing to obtain what you desire leads to disappointment, while encountering what you seek to avoid brings misery. Therefore, if you only avoid those undesirable things within your control, you'll never have to face them. However, if you constantly strive to avoid sickness, death, or poverty, you risk subjecting yourself to unhappiness. Instead, redirect aversion away from matters beyond your influence and focus it on undesirable aspects that you can control. At the same time, temporarily curb your desires. Pursuing what lies beyond your control is bound to end in disappointment, and you're yet to secure those within your power, which are the rightful objects of desire. When you must pursue or avoid something, do so with wisdom, kindness, and moderation. Lesson 3. When it comes to things that bring joy, usefulness, or deep affection, take a moment to consider their true nature, starting with even the smallest items. For instance, if you cherish a particular cup, recognize that it's just an object, and if it breaks, you can cope with it. Similarly, when you hold your child or spouse close, remember their mortality, so if tragedy strikes, you can find the strength to endure it. Lesson 4. Before engaging in any action, take a moment to consider its nature. For example, if you're preparing to take a bath, envision the typical occurrences in a public bathing area. Some people may be splashing water around, others might be pushing to get in, some may be arguing, and a few might even be stealing. By mentally preparing for these possibilities, you can approach the task with a sense of calm resolve, affirming to yourself, "I'm about to take a bath while maintaining alignment with nature." Apply this mindset to every action you undertake. In doing so, if any obstacles arise while bathing, you can remind yourself that your intention wasn't solely to bathe but also to remain in harmony with nature. By adopting this perspective, you'll avoid becoming upset by unexpected events. Lesson 5. People aren't upset by events themselves, but rather by their interpretations of those events. For example, death isn't inherently terrifying, otherwise Socrates would have been terrified. The fear arises from our perception of death as something dreadful. Therefore, when we encounter obstacles, disturbances, or sorrow, we shouldn't blame others but rather ourselves, specifically our perspectives. It's natural for someone lacking wisdom to blame others for their misfortunes, while someone beginning to learn takes responsibility for themselves. However, one who is truly enlightened neither blames others nor themselves. Lesson 6. Do not boast about any excellence that isn't your own. If a horse were to boast, "I am handsome," it might be tolerable. But if you boast, "I have a handsome horse," realize that your pride is solely based on the horse's merit. So, what is truly yours? It's the ability to make use of the circumstances of existence. When you align yourself with nature in this regard, you can take pride in something genuinely your own. Lesson 7. Imagine you're on a voyage, and the ship is anchored. If you go ashore to fetch water, you might casually pick up a shell or a truffle along the way. However, your focus should remain on the ship, always alert in case the captain calls. If summoned, you must abandon these distractions promptly to avoid being carried back to the vessel against your will. Similarly, in life, if you're granted companions like a spouse or children, that's fine. But if duty calls, you must prioritize it over everything else. Leave behind your attachments without hesitation and move forward. And as you age, stay close to the ship metaphorically, so you're always ready when called upon. Lesson 8. Don't insist that events unfold according to your desires. Instead, wish for things to happen as they actually do, and you'll navigate life smoothly. Lesson 9. Illness may hinder the body, but it doesn't affect your will unless you allow it to. Similarly, a physical disability like lameness may impede movement, but it doesn't constrain your willpower. Remind yourself of this whenever you face challenges. While difficulties may obstruct certain aspects of your life, they don't fundamentally limit you as a person. Lesson 10. Whenever you encounter any situation, reflect inward and ask yourself which inner quality you possess that can help you navigate it. If you meet an attractive person, you'll find confidence within yourself. If you experience pain, you'll find strength and resilience. And if you face insults, you'll discover patience. By cultivating this habit, you'll become adept at handling the challenges of life without feeling overwhelmed. Lesson 11. Instead of saying, "I have lost it," say, "I have returned it." Has your child passed away? They have returned. Has your spouse passed away? They have returned. Has your property been taken away? It too has returned. But it was taken by someone unjust. Why concern yourself with the hands through which the giver has chosen to reclaim it? While you are permitted to have it, treat it as something temporary, like travelers do with possessions at an inn. Lesson 12. If you want to grow, let go of thoughts like these. If I neglect my responsibilities, I'll lose my income. If I don't discipline my servant, they'll become useless. It's preferable to face hunger without distress or fear than to live in wealth with constant anxiety. It's better for your servant to be unreliable than for you to be unhappy. Start with small matters. If a bit of oil spills or some wine goes missing, remind yourself, this is the price of peace and tranquility. Nothing comes for free. When you summon your servant, recognize that they might not respond or may not fulfill your expectations. But it's not ideal for them to have the power to disrupt your peace, and it's definitely not good for you either. Lesson 13. If you want to grow, be comfortable with being seen as ignorant or uninteresting in superficial matters. Don't strive to appear knowledgeable, and even if others see you as important, remain skeptical of your own self-image. Understand that it's challenging to align your will with nature while also seeking external validation. Focus on inner alignment, and accept that chasing external recognition may divert your attention from this goal. Lesson 14. If you hope for your loved ones to live forever, you're being unrealistic, as you're desiring control over what's beyond your grasp and claiming ownership over what belongs to others. Similarly, if you expect your servant to be flawless, you're being naive, as you're essentially wishing for vice to be something other than what it is. However, if you aim to avoid disappointment in your desires, that's within your power. Focus on what you can control. The one who has the power to grant or take away what someone seeks or avoids is their true master. Therefore, if you want to be free, don't desire or avoid anything dependent on others. Otherwise, you'll inevitably become enslaved to those desires or aversions. Lesson 15. Think of life as a banquet. When something is offered to you, take a moderate portion. If it passes you by, let it go. If it hasn't arrived yet, don't eagerly anticipate it. Instead, be patient. Apply this mindset to everything, your family, your job, your wealth. Eventually, you'll be considered worthy of dining with the gods. Moreover, if you can abstain from taking even the things offered to you, demonstrating your self-control, you'll not only be deemed worthy of dining with the gods but also capable of ruling alongside them. This is how figures like Diogenes and Heraclitus attained divine status. They were recognized for their ability to forego worldly pleasures and exercise self-mastery. Lesson 16. When you witness someone grieving over a loss, whether it's their child moving away or facing setbacks in their affairs, resist the temptation to be swept away by the apparent negativity. Instead, discern and acknowledge that what truly troubles them isn't the event itself, since another person might not be affected in the same way, but rather the perspective they've chosen to adopt. In conversation, though, don't hesitate to empathize and, if necessary, express sympathy alongside them. However, be cautious not to internalize their grief too deeply. Lesson 17. Keep in mind that you're a performer in a play scripted by the author. Whether it's a brief performance or an extended one is up to them. Whether you're cast as a wealthy individual, a disabled person, a leader, or an ordinary citizen, strive to portray your role convincingly. Your task is to excel in the role you've been given, while the choice of roles belongs to someone else. Lesson 18. When you hear an unlucky omen, like a raven croaking, don't let it unsettle you. Instead, think critically and remind yourself, this doesn't signify anything for my body, belongings, reputation, family, or spouse. In fact, all omens are favorable to me if I choose to see them that way. Whatever occurs, I have the power to turn it to my advantage. Lesson 19. You can be invincible if you avoid engaging in battles where victory isn't within your control. Therefore, when you encounter someone who holds high honors, power, or esteem, don't let appearances deceive you into thinking they're truly happy. If true goodness lies in things we can control, there's no reason for envy or competition. Instead of aspiring to titles like general, senator, or consul, aspire to freedom. And the path to freedom lies in disregarding things beyond our control. Lesson 20. Keep in mind that it's not the person who insults or attacks you who truly offends you, but rather your interpretation of their actions as offensive. So, when someone provokes you, recognize that it's your own perception that's causing your reaction. Take a moment to avoid being swayed by surface appearances. By giving yourself time and space to gather your thoughts, you'll find it easier to maintain control over your emotions. Lesson 21. Keep reminders of death, exile, and all other fearsome events in your daily thoughts, with a particular focus on death. By doing so, you'll avoid dwelling on degrading thoughts or excessively desiring anything. Lesson 22. If you're truly committed to philosophy, brace yourself for ridicule and mockery from the crowd, who might say, "Look who's suddenly become a philosopher," or, "What's with that smug look?" But don't let their remarks affect you. Instead, stay focused on what you believe is right, recognizing it as your calling from a higher power. Remember, if you persist, those who once mocked you may one day admire you. But if you let their ridicule deter you, you'll face double the mockery. Lesson 23. If you ever find yourself prioritizing external appearances to please others, you've veered off course from your philosophical journey. Find contentment in being a philosopher in every aspect of your life. If you wish to appear as one to others, simply see yourself as such, and that's enough. Lesson 24. Don't fret over concerns like, "I'll live in disgrace and insignificance." If disgrace is a problem, then it's no different from baseness. So, why worry about gaining power or being invited to events? These aren't your concerns. Then why worry about insignificance? Focus only on matters within your control, where you can make the most impact. If friends need help, consider, is it your responsibility to give them money or Roman citizenship? No, those aren't within your control. Instead, focus on being a trustworthy and honorable friend. Help them cultivate those qualities in themselves rather than sacrificing your integrity for their temporary gains. If your country seems neglected, ask, how are you defining neglect? Your duty is to fulfill your responsibilities with fidelity and honor. If chasing popularity jeopardizes these values, you can't serve your country faithfully. Lesson 25. If someone receives preferential treatment over you, whether in social events, favors, or private conversations, don't envy them. If these things are good, be happy for their good fortune. If they're not, don't lament missing out. Remember, you can't expect to compete with others for external rewards without employing the same methods to obtain them. If you're unwilling to pay the price others pay for such rewards, then it's unreasonable to expect to enjoy them without any cost. Just as you wouldn't expect to get lettuce for free when it's being sold, you can't expect to receive social perks without the effort required to obtain them. Lesson 26. The laws of nature are evident in universally agreed upon principles. When someone else suffers a loss, we readily acknowledge it as a common misfortune. Apply this same perspective to your own hardships. When you face a loss, react with the same equanimity as you would towards another's misfortune. Lesson 27. Just as a target isn't set up to be missed, the concept of evil doesn't exist for us to succumb to it. Lesson 28. If someone were to hand over your body to a stranger, you'd be furious. Yet you willingly subject your mind to insults, allowing it to be disturbed and undermined. Lesson 29. Before undertaking any endeavor, consider both its beginnings and its consequences. Otherwise, you might start with enthusiasm but give up when faced with challenges. For example, if you aspire to win at the Olympics, consider all that precedes and follows such a goal. Are you willing to conform to strict rules, follow a specific diet, endure rigorous exercise routines, and face potential injuries? Only engage if the outcome aligns with your values and goals. Otherwise, you'll be like children who mimic various roles without understanding their implications. If you want to be a philosopher, consider whether your current lifestyle aligns with the discipline. Are you willing to relinquish certain comforts, face social stigma, and prioritize inner growth over external validation? If not, don't dabble in philosophy just for show. Choose your path deliberately, whether it's the path of a philosopher or that of a commoner. Lesson 30. Responsibilities are determined by relationships. Is someone your father? Then it implies taking care of him, respecting his authority, and patiently accepting his guidance and criticism. Even if he's not a good father, your duty remains the same. Your obligation is not to a good father but to a father. Is your brother unfair? Maintain your own sense of fairness towards him. Focus not on his actions but on your own response, ensuring it aligns with your values. Remember, no one can harm you unless you allow it. You're only hurt when you agree to be hurt. If you cultivate this mindset, you can derive your duties from any relationship, whether it's with a neighbor, citizen, or authority figure. Lesson 31. True piety towards the gods lies in forming accurate beliefs about them, recognizing their just governance of the universe. Resolve to obey and follow them willingly in all circumstances, trusting in their wisdom. By withdrawing from matters beyond your control and defining good and evil solely by your own choices, you'll avoid blaming the gods for misfortunes. Cultivate this mindset, and you'll find yourself more aligned with piety. Additionally, uphold traditional rituals like libations and sacrifices with sincerity and moderation, honoring your cultural heritage. Lesson 32. When seeking divination, remember that the outcome is uncertain. Approach the process without desires or aversions, recognizing that external events are indifferent. Trust the advice of diviners only in matters where reason or other methods fail to provide clarity. If your duty involves sharing the risks of a friend or your country, don't consult the oracle on whether to proceed. Stand by your values regardless of the diviner's warnings, as demonstrated by the story of the friend who neglected his duty and was cast out of the temple. Lesson 33. Establish a demeanor and conduct that you can maintain consistently, both alone and in company. Be mostly reserved in speech, speaking only when necessary and avoiding trivial topics. Laugh moderately and avoid taking unnecessary oaths. Attend to your physical needs without excess, avoiding extravagance and luxury. Guard yourself against immoral relationships, but also refrain from judgment or boasting about your own virtues. If someone speaks ill of you, don't make excuses. Instead, consider their ignorance of your other qualities. Avoid public spectacles unless necessary, and if you must attend, Remain focused and dignified, refraining from excessive emotions or commentary. Lesson 34. When tempted by immediate pleasures, remind yourself of the potential consequences and the satisfaction of self-restraint. Delay gratification and weigh the long-term benefits against short-term enjoyment. If you choose to abstain, celebrate the victory over temptation. Lesson 35. If you act with clear judgment and conviction, don't fear being misunderstood or criticized by others. Stand firm in your actions, knowing that if you're acting rightly, the opinions of others are irrelevant. Lesson 36. Just as choosing the largest portion of food at a feast is suitable for satisfying bodily appetites, it's inappropriate in terms of social etiquette. Consider not only the value of the food but also the value of proper courtesy towards your host when dining with others. Lesson 37. Avoid assuming roles or responsibilities beyond your capability. Demeaning yourself or abandoning tasks you could handle undermines your integrity. Lesson 38. Protect your inner peace and rationality as you would protect your body from harm. By being mindful of this, you'll approach every action with greater safety. Lesson 39. Use the body as a measure for possessions, ensuring they don't exceed what's necessary for its well-being. Excessive possessions can lead to a downward spiral, akin to a shoe adorned with unnecessary decorations. Lesson 40. Avoid excessive focus on physical pursuits like exercise or indulgence in sensory pleasures like eating and drinking. Instead, prioritize the development of your rational faculties. Lesson 41. When someone wrongs you, remember that they act based on their own judgments. Don't take their actions personally. Instead, respond with understanding and forgiveness. Lesson 42. Recognize that every situation has two perspectives, one that makes it bearable and one that doesn't. When faced with injustice, choose the perspective that allows you to endure it, such as viewing the person as your brother rather than focusing solely on their wrongdoing. Lesson 43. Approach every situation with mindfulness, recognizing that your interpretation determines how you handle it. Choose the perspective that allows you to respond with wisdom and grace. Lesson 44. These arguments lack logical coherence. I am richer than you, therefore I am superior. I am more eloquent than you, therefore I am superior. The true logical connection is rather this. I am richer than you, therefore my possessions must exceed yours. I am more eloquent than you, therefore my style must surpass yours. But remember, your worth isn't defined by possessions or style. Lesson 45. If someone bathes hastily, don't judge them as doing it wrong, but rather as doing it hastily. If someone drinks a lot of wine, don't condemn them for doing ill, but for drinking excessively. Without understanding their motives fully, how can you determine if they're acting wrongly? Don't be quick to judge based on appearances you don't fully understand. Lesson 46. Avoid proclaiming yourself a philosopher or lecturing the ignorant on your principles. Instead, demonstrate your beliefs through actions. Like Socrates, avoid ostentation and let your deeds speak for themselves. If others engage in discussions about principles, be mostly silent, as hastily expressing unprocessed thoughts can be dangerous. Lesson 47. Once you've learned to live frugally, don't boast about it. Consider how much more frugal the poor are and how much more patient in hardship. If you choose to endure hardship, do so quietly, without seeking recognition. Lesson 48. A vulgar person relies on external circumstances for help or harm, while a philosopher looks inward for strength. A true philosopher refrains from judging, praising, or blaming others and focuses on self-improvement. They are cautious, restrained, and vigilant over their own actions. Lesson 49. When someone boasts of their understanding of philosophy, remind yourself that true value lies not in interpretation but in application. Seek to understand nature and follow it, rather than seeking praise for your intellectual prowess. Let your actions speak louder than your words. Lesson 50. Adhere to your principles as if they were sacred laws and pay no heed to what others say about you. Don't delay in improving yourself. The time for action is now. Remember that every moment presents an opportunity for growth or failure. Strive to live according to reason, seeking improvement in every aspect of life. Lesson 51. The most important aspect of philosophy is its practical application. Understand the principles and their consequences, and live accordingly. Keep these lessons in mind. Lead me, Zeus and destiny, to where you have decreed my fate. I follow willingly, for resisting fate would be foolish. And, if the gods will it, let it be so. The end.